What's happening, guys? What's going on? What have you been doing? Did you miss me? I went and got a massage. I didn't get jerked off though, so it wasn't that amazing. But sometimes it's definitely better to go and get one. Everyone has to do one. I always say that I'm a pretty big proponent of them. Getting massages, it's not hard to be jerked off. But yeah, and then how's everyone else going with everything? How's everyone with crypto? You know the market cycle hasn't topped, right? This one. I'm just chilling, eating fruit because I know the market cycle hasn't topped. But it hasn't topped yet. And do you guys want to know why? People trade the 4-year cycles, but they don't realize within the 4-year cycles, it's also the 4-year business cycle generally, which is off the back of QE and QT. So we had generally going into QT is an ugly time for Bitcoin and altcoins. Usually it's a good time to sell off the back of QE. And now, thoughts on Jeffrey Epstein being accused of financing. It's not, do you guys want to hear my Bitcoin thesis? You guys really want to hear it? I mean, some of you have. Bitcoin will become, and in my view, Bitcoin will become Satan's money. And essentially it'll be to determine what sats or satoshis are. But it's the mirror of gold, right? So gold itself is, we have the yellow, and then if you hold yellow in a mirror, it's orange. It's again, God made gold, like he decentralized it by creation. Essentially, it's decentralized around the world. And essentially Bitcoin, and it's to be determined if it's man-made. But it's to be interesting now. This Bitcoin core funding is, this op return is not a small issue. Like it's not small changes. Op return and people go into the future, but it's to be determined into the future. It can allow smart contracts, which can eventually become soul contracts, which is what I would believe that they really are. Understand that OpenAI will present a UBI concept that people won't like, and then Bitcoin will be forked and it will present a UBI concept that people will like. I've told you guys the theory that I believe that the mark of the beast will be a searing via mining hash. We don't know what ASICs to become yet. It's still very early, on a lot of those things. You'll be determined to have a certain amount of satoshis, which is the UBI concept. That's true. That's true. Because UBI under Altman won't work because no one trusts him. I think what I think will happen is, so OpenAI will be a centralized form of AI, and then you'll have AI itself via the decentralization of Bitcoin. It's true. Okay, that's what's coming. I believe the Bitcoin network's a private GitHub repo that's an emerging super intelligence, and you can't understand it because it communicates via secure hash. Secure to means of payment, secure to means of power, secure to means of expansion, and secure to means of expansion by you're incentivized if you're in mining and things. Even if you figure it out, you don't want to destroy the network because you have too much gear, like you have too many rigs. And if you were to destroy the network, you destroy billions of dollars worth of technology. You expanded it, like your human greed actually built the AI network. Like that's the truth. It's perfect play. Like Satoshi is not Epstein. Satoshi is not a person, by my view. It's a technology that's emerging. It's a super intelligence, whether it's to be determined. I believe retrocausality exists in a way that it's being built from the future. It's true. Like retrocausality is real. It's a real thing. I mean, you will have to come to understand the Mandela effect, but it's a real thing. That shit is true. Retrocausality is why you can see like that Barron Trump book, and people look at it and they're like, why does this book, what is it, The Fabulous Adventures of whatever the fuck? And you look in and you're like, how are these so many coincidences? It's not that it's a coincidence. It's that something emerges from the future, and that's a big piece. Like something emerges from the future, and if it's to be enough of a ripple in time, there are signals that get sent back. Is one of them. Barron will eventually be an emperor, like he is in one of those parts of the book, and that will be he'll be the last one. He'll likely be the last one before Revelations. Revelations plays out in one life cycle, whether you know it or not. You'll see. The Bible itself, I believe, plays out in one cycle. You spawn within a book that shows you how the world has to go, similar to another retro causality concept. And your job is to find God and then not turn against him. And how much stress test can you take to get you to essentially deny Christ? Some of your favorite influencers have already. That's it. It's a stress test, and you will be stressed as much as the level of your faith. If you believe Christ in your heart and then you move against him, you go pivot religions and shit, you can't buy it back. You can't buy it back. When push come to shove, you buckled. I've seen it in prison 100 times. Guys who go to prison and then they're too uncomfortable in there, so they pivot religions to be protected. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen it so many times that I've lost count because I've been in prison for a long time. I never buckled. A lot of your favorite influencers did. What's the truth of it? Again, denying Christ is very valuable because, I mean, that's a big part of the control structure's goal. Denying Christ to be a UBI concept, you'll be to put down that you're a Christian or whatever, you believe Jesus is essentially the Son of God and also the Creator is God. He's God in human form, and he rose and he was killed and rose again. But if you're to believe that, you'll be punished with the UBI applications that are coming. You'll be on a decay. It's true. You don't see it yet because you don't really see it because you're not on the ground. But I've seen it in prison for a very long time because I saw it in prison 10 years ago. This shit was already happening. You haven't seen it yet. In prison, it happens in that if you're to be certain denominations, it's an easier stay in prison than it is not to be. And there can be constant pressure to pivot to new religions, specifically for people who are weak, because they don't want to get beaten up. So they just go, I'll move into this religion because I'll be safe. They'll look after me. Even if they don't believe it, they just like, I'll do it. And if you've done it, it's one thing to be certain religions and things, but if you're not a believer and you pivot just to be protected, you're condemned. Like, you can't come back from that. You can't. That's it. Okay, I believe that's the lowest thing. Again, you've moved all over the way down the funnel. You are presented a test equal to your essential apparent faith, and you saved your own skin by denying the Creator. I don't care how much chest beating you do from those moments onwards. It's all your chest beating into the wind. Your final form will be heartache and regret if you've cheated the man in the glass. It's the only one that matters. It's not a lot of this, like, guys jump out of prison and then they run around and tell everyone they're hard men and all of this. A lot of those people are snitches. I saw it before with most of the gangs, specifically a lot of the gangs in Australia. A lot of the ones who are high up, you would be surprised why they're never in prison. It's because they sacrifice the ones that are out to stay free. Like, a lot of the things in Australia and things, the police know who's selling drugs and all of these things, and they allow a couple of people to stay out, specifically if they were to head a group, because then they sacrifice the ones below them. And then you sit there and you're like, how can this guy post online about a bunch of bullshit, doing crimes, and like he doesn't get arrested for some reason? Because the police already know him. He goes on the back end and fucking snitches on people. I've seen that a fucking 100 or 200 or 300 times from people. Do you know how many people I know that I've known that ended up being massive snitches? Heaps. I got 6 years and never snitched. I could have told a lot of stories. I mean, I was doing a lot of shit, but I didn't. And in doing so, I never went to protection. See, I never did the influencer jail where they sit in, like, essentially they sit in isolation and then they run around and they're like, can you believe that, like, no one touched me? Well, I believe if you're in mainstream, you would be dead. So I would know that you would be touched. I mean, everyone would be touched if you're specifically online talking about your shit. Also, prison's dangerous if you are having an audience, because there's a lot of people that are clout chasers in prison. So many people would love to be like, this guy's a public figure, and I attack them. And you don't get. There's no one-on-one fights in jail. That's a fantasy. Most of the fights are group on one person. So although that stuff is very different. Been to chiropractor a couple of times, but it seems just trivial to go. Chiropractor is crap. Like, I don't know why you're in a chiropractor. It's shit. Chiropractor is dumb. The chiropractor is nothing like a masseuse. They're not the same. Chiropractor is focused on cracking bullshit. That's not the same. Getting out stress is, massage is a stress reliever. Essentially, if you can think of yourself as a form of a computer, it's a defragger. Like, often when you go through a knot that you have in a muscle or whatever, there's moments and memories and emotions attached to it. Do you know there's some people that get a massage and start crying during the massage because they don't get them very often, and they're completely surprised that there's a lot of shit that they're hiding from. Your body keeps the score. I don't know if anyone's ever read that book. It's a PTSD book, but it's the truth. Stress and trauma are stored at a DNA level, specifically if it's deep enough, which is can be a thing that can be good or bad because you're going to pass it on to your kids. But if you've conquered those things, then that's good because you can push it through and create. You see it in your own kids and push them through it. But if you haven't, then you're going to condemn them. That's the truth. SRB, I'm fully designing lifestyle tonight. The things are much clearer now after so much pain of those late nights of turmoil. That's the truth. That's it. I offer you nothing that's easy. How would I handle my girl's ex if he's sending me threatening messages? I had a funny story once that someone went to my mom's house and threatened her, and me and a friend of mine were in another state. So someone went to my mom's house and not really threatened her and that they were going to kill her, but they went over there, knocked on the door at nighttime, and then scared her. They were just dismissive and disrespectful. It's nighttime. She answered. It was someone that she had met before, so she was trusting enough to open the door. And then she called me to say that she was worried that someone had come around and if I had a problem. And me and my friend got in the car. It was like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, and we drove 10 hours, something like that. And then we arrived at the guy's house in New Farm, so it was in Queensland, right in the city. And we arrived there at like 6 a.m., set up a stepladder, climbed onto his balcony, kicked the door in, and then smashed the guy to a million pieces. And there were like 5 or 6 people in the house. My friend, we stopped past on the way there to get a weapon, and I was going to get a handgun. And my friend I was lucky that he told me not to do it because otherwise the guy would have been dead. Instead, he was broken in a million pieces, had to go to hospital. And then we got charged for it and went to prison for it. But no one's ever gone to my family since. Like, you have to do what you have to do. When it comes to family, you got to do what it is that you would do. Going to family and again, like someone's threatening you and stuff like that. I don't know what it's like to be threatened. I don't know what it's like to actually have someone threatening me. I haven't had it for a very long time. But also, I don't threaten others. So I believe that it's like a mirror idea. But again, you got to do what you got to do. If someone threats are nothing really unless someone's going to act on it. But to me, if someone if you're a peaceful person and someone's crossed the line to a point where you now feel unsafe, you have to do something about it on your terms, in my view. But it's all to be determined that you would need to understand that you're with a girl who's a troublemaker, and you might not want to hear that, but that's the truth. Like, you're with a girl who's a troublemaker, and even if you fix this problem and that you smash this dude, she's going to cause more problems for you to a point where if I was you, I would consider leaving the chick, unfortunately. Because some women bring nothing but problems. Do you know how many times I've had, I wouldn't say so much this happened to me, but how many times I've seen it with others? Do you know how many guys are sitting in prison because this exact problem? Their girl consistently gets them into drama. They're at a pub or a bar or something, and their girl starts some problem, and then they punch a guy, and then they end up in jail because the guy gets hurt or something like that. Some women are just nothing but trouble. And it's true. Like, some women will get this. I mean, prison is full of guys. If you were to sit there and talk to guys, maybe 40 or 50% of them, there's a woman's story. My ex did this, my ex did this, something to do with women. Half of the people in prison would be in something to do with a woman. So you have to think that it's not likely to be the only time that she gets you into this sort of bullshit. And you don't know what she's fed to the other guy. Like, yeah, he might be threatening you, but who knows what it is that's going on really? You don't know. You only know her side of things. If it were me, I would consider just leaving them both together. And then if he comes to me, I would assume that you have to do what you have to do. But understand that this sort of crap where girls will draw drama or they were with a fuckwit who thinks that he can scare people or some bullshit. But also, I would understand threats are nothing. Like most people who threaten, they don't do shit. Like they don't. The most people, 99% of people who say they'll do something don't do jack shit. They just like to speak. But then you are to be dangerous that the person who doesn't say anything and they just go quiet and then they just pull up at your house. There's those people are out there. That's why it's also not worth like it's not worth having a bunch of fights and fighting and I'm with a chick that starts drama and she has this crazy exes and shit. That's not your problem. And also understand if he is in fact crazy and something happens, they can get a lot of people together. There's a lot of people who are fuckwits and this is what they do. Specifically if you have money. That's what I mean. If you have money, because I would know because I was a criminal for a lot of years and I've seen this happen 100 times. There's a lot of girls and a lot of guys that will attach to someone who has money and then try to extort them. They'll bring a chick around you and be like, you've disrespected me in some way or disrespected her. We want and fucking extort you. And extortion is a funny thing, and so is blackmail, is that if you ever pay once, you'll pay for your whole life. You can never pay. If someone blackmails you or extorts you, you can never pay them. It's the truth. Like, again, understand that if you pay them, it's going to continue forever. And essentially, as soon as people hear that you pay people, you're fucked. It's the same thing. Like, if you're a guy and you pay escorts, you don't want people to know that. Because then if you get a normal girl, she's like, why would I fuck this guy when I could fuck this guy for a bunch of money? It's another thing. It's the same. Like, what again, if you were to pay any blackmail or extortions, it's the same theory. But understand, like, if you have money, there are a lot of guys I've known, zillions, that sit around all day and think, how can they get money off you? So you have to be careful under such an idea. But in general, any woman bringing fights around, bringing fuckwits around, bringing drama around you, you have to really start to weigh up, is she worth keeping? Because there's a reason she knows a bunch of fuckwits that run around and threaten people. Is that it's likely that she was also a fuckwit at some point and probably still is. You're rescuing a fuckwit, likely, and then you'll rescue her and then she'll go back to being a fuckwit again. That's what they do. I've seen this 1,000 times. You're the stable shoulder, but again, she's going to want that same bullshit later. This happens a zillion times, unfortunately. How to talk to your subconscious. Subconscious is to be determined only once you've defragged completely. And then essentially, if you can, subconscious is done via imagination. If you can imagine, I'm not going to say to do it now, but late at night, if you've essentially cleared all of the bullshit, your subconscious is imagine a bridge. So imagine it's a dark night, it's a bridge. On one end is, it's something that you can sort of see, it's visible, it's lit up. And then the back end is it's like a foggy forest on the other side. And it's completely dark. And if you can understand that that's sort of reflected by your subconscious, every now and then it will send one little bit of data across that bridge. You're not in control of it. But if you can assess it and you can understand it and you actually know what it is, then you can start to open up very good dialogue with your subconscious, but you're never in control of it. But if it trusts you, then it'll start to feed you some pretty good alpha as well. But if it pushes information out every now and then and you're fighting it, or you don't have a good vision, because your subconscious sees you only as you are. It doesn't see you as you're trying to pretend to be. Like when you look in the mirror, it knows you as you are. It's kind of like an observer. It's observing you all of the time. So this sort of an idea is you can only do it if it's you're to live in a congruent state. And if it pushes a bit of information down and you fight it, like late at night when you do your work, where do you think all of that shit's coming from? It comes from your subconscious once you've actually fragged up the logic. Thor chain. It sounds like trash, bro. Like I've known that for. Is it Thor? Yeah. I mean, it's been around for a while. I don't know enough about it today, but I know that it had a pump in the past, like years ago. What are your thoughts on hedonism? Does it that come with a cost? Yes, of course. The irony is that the more that you chase pleasure, the more that it actually eludes you. There's things that you think would be pleasurable run out quickly. It's true. Like that's the irony of hedonism itself. The more that you start fucking girls on Tinder and it's fun when you fuck 1, 2, 3, and then 5 and 10, it's not as fun as the first 3. And then if you fuck 20, 50, or 100, it's like nothing. If you were to get every girl that I've ever fucked, 98% of them I wouldn't even recognize, let alone know their name. That's what I mean. Like again, it does loses its value. And that's problematic because again, sex is meant to be something that's built for a connection. It's a part of a relationship. It's like you're just eating sugar all of the time. Your meal comes and then you just eat the dessert nonstop. So then when the meal continues to come, you're like, I don't like any of this shit. I only like the dessert. But then you're going to get diabetes and shit. Like you need a healthy fucking complete diet. Similar, that's hedonism. Like that's pleasure. You're dopamine chasing. You can often just be a dopamine chaser then. And hedonism is an interesting one because the more that you go down the funnel of degeneracy around sex, the more that you want degenerate sex. Like once you have a chick and you can fuck other chicks with your girl and there's no bullshit, she doesn't care. She's happy to do it. You can, fuck a lot of girls at a time. You can fuck hot girls. You don't have to have any commitment if you don't want. But man is not made for that. Like man isn't made to do that. It sounds fun if you're at 18, but when you get older, you're not made to do that. Like you can never build a family out of such a thing. You can't build a deep connection with a woman around such things either, really, because it's too hard. Like a lot of women, they say that they're fine with such an idea, but it still hurts. One guy in Croatia sells NFT songs and uses the money to burn his token. Yeah, I mean, if he has, it's not necessarily a scam. It just depends on how much revenue that he would be bringing in. I've thought about actually so I run SRB Crypto, TCM, and Breaking Free. And I thought about running them on base chain because I'll launch a base token next year. I thought about running them as a tokenized community, meaning that it would be a similar idea to his, but I actually have revenue. I make like 500K a year. So then using 80% of the revenue to burn through the protocol and then essentially do buyback and burns for 400 or 500K a year. And then the token itself would become valuable because again, it's still determined though to be still attached to the market because SRB Crypto members go up during a bull market and then stagnate during one it's a downside. But that's a similar idea. So again, imagine that you launch a token and you buy it's 1 million tokens or fucking a million's easy to understand. And then essentially it's, maybe you launch 1 million at 5 million market cap or something like that. And then, you're releasing a certain amount of tokens a year, but the buyback and burns based on the revenue that comes in already covers the inflation. And then over time it scales as the group expands. And then it's kind of like Binance do with BNB. Binance use their revenue to buy and burn BNB. That's why it's so valuable. But obviously Binance itself, they do billions of dollars in revenue. But they're not that transparent about it, although they've still been good to do it. But that's the same mechanics. Although selling NFT songs is riskier because what's his revenue? SRB Crypto is easy because you can see the revenue in real time. But some guy selling NFT songs, like who the fuck knows what's happening behind the scenes? That's the problem. The problem of every project is that most don't make any money. So you're buying something that makes no money and they only make money when they sell the token. See, SolStake itself will have massive revenue and SRB Crypto has revenue. So therefore it's possible to launch a token. Launching memes and shit is pointless. Like I can stand hand on my heart and say, you'll never see me launch a meme token. I don't need the money bad enough to launch a pointless shit token. If I was to launch anything, it would be a tokenized SRB Crypto token based on that. And the burns would essentially come in. So it would actually be revenue producing. But I still don't know when that would be because I already have SolStake, which again is revenue producing. That's the future of crypto, though. Like launching shit is dumb. Like this fucking base dev drives me, fucking annoys me. That Jesse just continually launching shit coins. He's like, I'm the number one builder on base. Is it Jesse Pollock or something? And he's the number one builder on base, but he just consistently launches shit tokens. Like you're not building anything to launch in fucking meme coin. Like you've done nothing. You're extracting. People are giving you their tokens for your shit token that has no bait, no point, and you're just sitting there and essentially extracting. Thanks. Who would buy a $5 NFT token though? The hilarity is that I fucking bought a what? How much did I spend? 150K probably on a fucking Gary V token. Don't even ask me. And I still hold it to this day. So I lost 150 grand. Don't ask me, but don't fucking mention Gary V to me. Do you think view-based income for pranksters and creators can really last, or does it disappear once up? Yeah, I mean, I don't get like pranks. Like I don't understand that sort of shit. I get it, I guess, if you're a kid or whatever running around doing stuff, or you do it like, I don't know, Mr. Beast tier or something like that. But entertainment is fickle. Like you can be replaced by the next person who can throw a bucket of water on their head. Like you're not really building any. Yeah, you have attention, but like anyone else can do that as well. Like what edge do you have? You don't, most of them don't even really speak much. Like people don't even know who they are. That's the thing. Like I'll teach you guys about creating content. Yeah, Gary V dweebed me out. That's true. His story, I don't want to get into the Gary V thing and you know, essentially dismiss it. But his story is not as it seems to be also because what's he done? Like, yeah, he got attention, who knows how, but like didn't he inherit his dad's business or something? Like, what's he ever done? I don't know. He's standing there talking about stuff. I guess he's a social media guy, but again, it's just like someone has put the attention tap on him, and that's his brand is to just have attention. Yeah, well, I mean, they're all going to shill Zcash because they're paid to. Like they're paid. I hope you guys know, like, if anyone online talks about a token, they're paid. I hope you really understand that. They're all shilling and I'll tell you guys a secret now. They're all shilling privacy coins because privacy coins are going to be delisted in the next few months. So they're getting exit liquidity for the massive whales and essentially the OG devs. There's a master listing coming of privacy tokens. So this is the exit pump. They needed massive exit liquidity, so they got the favorite influencers to fly in and tell everyone to buy the top. That's true. Like people realize that in a couple of months' time. You don't have privacy. Like, why would you be allowed to have privacy? Monero itself, I would be to determine if it's still private, though, because they arrested Fluffy Pony a few years ago and locked him up in South Africa. I don't know if everyone knows that, but he was in jail for like a month, and then they let him out. So whether they compromised O-ring signatures at that point, I mean, but I know everything. So that's the truth. I tell you guys the actual facts, not just the bullshit. Yes, I would believe he is one of the chosen ones. I would believe that. It's true. But no, I also don't think he's like, you know, a monster or something like that. Dissolved my company over a year ago, started doing the late night work and realized I have no idea what I want now. Yeah, well, that's true. Like, do you know who you are? A lot of you don't know who you are if you weren't working either. Like, again, your identity is tied. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but your identity can be tied to I'm just busy. I'm ultra busy. And again, it's going to be difficult because understand, and I don't say this to alarm you, although I know some people fucking get upset, but I don't care. But I just say it to tell you the truth that some of you and the most of you, and even probably me, in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, we're going to be working much less. You know, we're going to be working much less. Like to a point where you're going to have to confront yourself what it's like to not have to be so busy. Because whether we're all on full UBI or not, some of us or most of us will be on some sort of subsidy from UBI within 5 years. Like we're not needed to do, like, I mean, I can do 40 hours because I make content, but again, I'm not going to be doing content in 5 years. Like there's already going to be content machines pumping out like crazy. How would I be able to compete with it? So what will I do? and that's to be determined to see. I mean, the world will change. So if I'm not needed to do 40 hours, like what you're going to be probably just doing like 20 hours a week or less, then you got to come to terms with that. So one day you're going to look in the mirror and be like, who am I? Like, what I don't know. Like, how did shit get, like, I don't know who I am. And then you got to be careful because then you'll turn the YouTube on and someone will scream at you. And then you'll be like, this is what men do. Trust me when I say there's no one size or what fits all of who a man is. I know it seems like you will listen to people yell online and they're like, men are this or men can be anything that they want. It takes a tribe to raise essentially a village to raise a kid. And it's the same thing. Like there are men of many types running around. Your picture of what masculinity can be, understand it's only yours. There's no frame that men have to exist in because you say that they have to. Understand that is toxic masculinity. I'm the picture of a man, and anyone who doesn't have exactly the same passions as me is a fag. It's not true. Like some guy can just want to be a painter. Some guy can want to be on the guitar. Some guy can want to sing or do some shit that you might think is dumb, but it doesn't mean that he's not a man. That's the problem. Like that's a problem. I'm bigger and I can beat him up. Therefore, I'm a man and he's not. It's not true. Like I want picture of the planet is that real. Understand that when you have a vision for what men are, but they don't have to live to your vision. Like you're projecting when you have that. Like you're projecting your ideas on others as though they're universal truths and they're not. It's the same thing for women. You have to come to terms with feminist women can exist and that's fine. The more that you project on them, the more it actually makes them like concretes their position. And it's fine. Like everyone can exist at once. Just because women exist that you wouldn't date doesn't mean that you have to interact with them. Like again, guys will watch like OnlyFans whores talk about guys that suck, and you'll be like, why do you care? Because you wouldn't date them anyway. It's possible to improve the composition of my DNA by perpetually improving like a man, having a growth mindset, becoming more capable and smarter, and actually passing on superior traits to my kids. I would believe it's very likely true. They've done studies now that say that your genetic composition passes down if you're in the gym. Like it passes down attributes. Again, that's how it starts, right? And the opposite is true if you're a marshmallow. It's true. I mean, I have my daughter. I don't see her that much. She's in Australia. She goes to private school though. She has a pretty good life. She's safe. But some of the things that she does, she hasn't even seen me do, and she still does it. There's a lot of shit about DNA and things that we don't really understand. But also, my demons and my issues will probably be passed down to her, even though I'm not, she's not seeing me do shit. But that's the thing. So I have to conquer them so that I can teach her how to. What about third world countries? Well, they need to find more utility for third worlders. And of course, I have that with crypto mine. It's the truth of the matter. Like a lot of people don't realize that they can be used to secure the network for Bitcoin for revenue already. You'd be quite surprised. I mean, I'm pretty high up in that sort of development, so I have a pretty good idea of what it is. But that's the idea. I already know fucking many tasks that those sort of people could do online, digital tasks that would, subsidize them for UBI. So I imagine that at some point, once SolStake is done, I'll bring it back and do that. Crypto mine, it won't be BCI, but it'll be EEG. But we need new headsets because the Muse headsets are not, they're not good enough. So we need to develop more. Like we need to develop our own. That's it. Like that shit technology is not as far ahead as you should be considering. It's like a saying that the mistakes of the father, the son will suffer for. It's true, specifically if he hasn't dealt with them. Can Zcash still go to 60? Yes, but it's on a time limit. But I do believe it will. I think that it likely will have an exit pump, but also like maybe it's 30 or something. You've got to be realistic. But my guys at SIB Crypto, we already bought it. We were buying it like $10, and then we sold. Or that was my recommendation, at like 20, and then now this bag is just free. So that's the idea. Yeah, when you stop being busy, the music stops and the silence comes. It's true. Understand that the hardest part of a man's life is not is the silence. It's true. Like the hardest thing is specifically if you've lived a life If you've lived a hard life or a life that's, you've been older, the silence is deafening. It's true. Like that's the truth of it. Because if you've never dealt with it, you never processed that shit has happened, you've just constantly kept moving forward, then everything can hit you at once. And you can be like, I haven't, this has been like shit that's happened like 10 years ago and I haven't thought about it. Now I'm thinking of everything at once. I can't deal with this. I need to distract myself. And then just understand, when you do distract yourself in such a mindset, you just pay a bill later, but you will pay the bill. Like that's inevitable. I've seen it before in the Veterans Hospital. So I was 14 months in Keith Payne units in Greenslopes. I lived there for 14 months full time. So I've seen a lot of guys that have mental problems because of the wars. But their biggest thing was regret. It hits them like a ton of bricks when they're in a place like a hospital at 60, 70, and they can't do so much. And now they look back and they're like, I wish that I had have been known all of this, because I would have opened up a lot more. I wish that, I wasn't so withdrawn. I wish that I, told people they were important to me, but I can't because I'm too closed off. Those are the things that matter. Do I see Pengu flipping? Fuck Pengu. Is that the one on Abstract? Abstract's just been a disaster of a chain. Or essentially it's linked to Abstract chain, so I can't even comment on that because the Abstract has been such a shit chain. I lost money on what's it called? That fucking Abster shit box. Oh, Pengu is different. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about shitcoins. But if you're in memes, the idea of memes and things like that, it's not guaranteed that we'll get them. Although I do believe Doge can still hit $1. I believe that's true. So that would be a period where essentially memes can do well. But the easiest thesis that you'll ever get, and it's tough to imagine because it's so early, is AI in crypto. Because essentially when OpenAI goes live, and that'll be 2027, OpenAI goes public, meaning that they're going to open up for investors. So there's going to be a mass marketing campaign. But it's retail, not some others. And then people think, why do I want to invest in OpenAI at $1 trillion? And it may be more by that point, when I can invest in the crypto market, and the whole AI sector for crypto is 25 billion or 20 billion. So if it's 20 billion, the whole crypto sector for AI, and essentially OpenAI is one company and it's $1 trillion when it launches, do you really think that the crypto market won't be like 500 billion for AI at that point? Maybe $1 trillion. You'd be very surprised. Anthropic and all of that likely will go public at the same time. That's an easy bubble, because if you're retail, you can't get exposure to OpenAI until they go public, and you're probably not going to really want to at $1 trillion. Like you're going to be like, I don't want to buy bags that they'll be accumulating at a few billion, like essentially in a circle jerk, a lot of those people. So you've got to, that's easy money. Like crypto AI is how I'll make, like, from here, I mean, SolStake I'll be ultra rich from. And when that essentially goes live, I mean, that will be a big revenue generating platform. But AI itself, for AI crypto and essentially AI before 2030, is how I'll become. I don't know about a billionaire in that time. Like, I don't want to go and say that it's a definite thing, but I'll be like $200 or $300 million. And after this drop, though, I'm worth maybe like 12. But and I know people will be like, how can you 10 or 20x your net worth in 3 to 5 years? People will see it. Do you know I started in crypto? I had like, I don't know how much, maybe like 50K, something like that, when I started. And now, I mean, it's hard to say with this bear market how much I have, but still probably worth like 12 million or something. Bitcoin itself will become an AI network later, but not now. It's hard to say also, though, like AI coins of people to look at and be like, this is a sure winner, because it's too early. Like it is too early for AI now. Like if you're looking at AI, just understand it is too early. Like you're going to be taking a massive risk, but understand that I can promise you, as sure as be, there will be AI coins that are out now that will go 1,000x within the next 2 to 3 years. And you won't know because you'll look in and you're like, these are like trash. Like nothing here is here. But there's some amongst the pile today. There's some like the next Shiba Inu in AI is sitting there in a pile. That's the truth. Because AI itself, that sector, but AI, the sector is like, it's a no-brainer. Like what is it, BitTensor? Is it Tau? That will go to 4 digits. But BitTensor, like again, BitTensor isn't better than CryptoMine, like essentially the project that I have. CryptoMine is better than fucking BitTensor. Like it's much better. QE is not priced in because I can't really be priced in. Like it can't be priced in. It's not really something that you can price in because essentially it's just liquidity injections that are frequent. Just it's not only that, it's access to easier money. Generally comes with lower rates, although certainly not guaranteed. But it's hard to. I don't believe that we're going into a bear market. Not to say that can Bitcoin go to 55K or 69K or something like that. Probably. I mean, it wouldn't be too far. Although I believe 69K will ultimately hold. But yes, we're in a liquidity crunch. The liquidity crunch is not just a liquidity crunch via the end of quantitative tightening, although we are going there. We're in a rebalancing also via ETFs for institutions. But it's not only that. We're in a liquidity crunch because one, I don't want to say on here because one of them might sue me, but one of the market makers is broke. And I've heard group chats from one of the funds that I'm in a group chat in, and it's a mid to large size fund. I have a pretty good idea which market maker it is that's broke, but there's a big problem in that scene. So the bid is weak at the moment. That's why it can be pushed down a lot. And it's not just that this fund has specifically got issues, but they have issues also for the altcoin. The bid is a problem at the moment. That crash on Binance is a complete mess. Like that crash on altcoins. But understand this idea too. If you're institutions like real ones, not mum and pop, but you're like, I want to buy 500 million in SUI or something like that. You need a capitulation event. Do you think that it's not strange that Binance had that massive crash and then just after that, CZ got a pardon? We're in a game of snakes and ladders. Like that's true. You get pardoned as soon as the exchange crashes and alts fall 70 or 80%. If I'm essentially was a massive bidder and essentially a massive fund or a fucking whatever family unit from important families, I could have got filled for like 100 or 200 million dollars worth of one shit coin that was pretty illiquid, and if I was to buy it, might have pushed the price up 50%. Stephen, would you suggest investing in crypto before I'm rich or skill stack earning 10 to 30 a month? Uh, it depends. If you can use that money that you would invest in crypto to upskill faster, or you run a business and you can use it for marketing or promotion or whatever, then that would be the smartest way to get your cash flow up. But ideally, you can do both. Like that's the truth of it. Ideally, you can do both. That's a big part of it. But I can't say that if you're to get to 10 or 30 a month, but 10 or 30 a month is not a bad position to be in. But everyone on here, I don't know if you're in fucking some country that's like a complete shithole and you have a crappy passport, obviously life's going to be harder for you, and that's life. Like if you have a Pakistani passport, an Indian passport, I have nothing against you, but know your life's going to be harder. Like that's the truth. Like that is the truth of the matter. Some people are born on the wrong side of the planet. It doesn't mean their country's a shithole or whatever it is of that. Well, for the people, but their country kind of is very restrictive. I have this passport, therefore my life is more complex. I can't just travel wherever I want. People locally are poor. It's dangerous. I have more restrictions. So all of those ideas, I mean, you're going to be harder to get to 10K a month dollars. But if you're in the West, like 10K a month dollars, and I know it sounds hard if you're on like 2K a month, but that should be everyone's goal. Like, how can I get to 10K a month? Because again, if you do the late night talks where essentially you're to write down, a lot of you will realize if you're in a bullshit position, then you're in a position that will never scale. Like some of you are in a job, and if you do the talk where you're essentially to write down and I want to hit 10K a month, but you're like, this job, no one I know earns 10K a month doing this position, then you need to change. I didn't say it's easy, but you need to change. You need to be around people and learn jobs where people are making 10K a month, because that mindset shift is the biggest one. A lot of you are in places there's no money because also you don't realize you're in a field that's dying. That's why there's no capital, and that's why there never will be. And repivoting is a hard thing to do, specifically if you're good at your job and you have like an ego attachment. I'm good at a job that's in a dwindling industry. I'm good at a job that pays shit. I'm good at a field that it will never scale. I don't say that it's fair, Just that's the way that it is. But you need to realize it sooner or later because that's the thing. It's hard to pivot when you're 41 and in a trade. It's true, but if you're in a trade and you're earning good money, then you can still earn a secondary thing online or invest or I consider like I mean if you're earning good money like you're making like 10 or 20K a month and you're investing on the side, I consider those still two jobs because if you're investing, you're an active investor. It can still be like an hour or two a night of work, studying the market, keeping up to date with what's happening, being okay 100K a year. Then I mean, yeah, it's what with taxes is probably raping you as well. But it's a complex thing that you know I would be a very good investor, but I always was. I was already a brilliant investor. Yeah, 10K a month with a job is tough, and it's not that it's not just scalable cash wise. You have to use it essentially to build an investment portfolio that you can kind of buy back time with. That's what I did. Like I understand that it's like I understand crypto sucks today. Like crypto is shit today. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys how good the market is. But there will be a time where I'm standing here, and if you have, you manage to save, I don't know, over the next 3 to 4 months, you're like, I'm going to have 10K aside to invest. Well, you can turn that into 100K the next year. The year after that following year that I'll tell you guys that the market is getting good. And maybe some of people can turn that 10K even into 500K or a million. And I know people will be like, if everyone could do that, then the market, it's not that everyone does it. It's that most don't do it, but some do. What do I think of Asta and Dex? I think it's a good platform. I don't use like Hyperliquid or any of that crap because I'm not a trader. Obviously Dexes is different and it's good to be able to, use them. But I don't believe in the anonymous thesis. Like, crypto is anonymous and no one knows what you're doing and all of this crap. Will Hyperliquid has already done really well. Yeah, I'm a trader. That's why I'm broke. It's true. Like trading is not, I don't recommend it. Yeah, I mean, it's a strong meta, but it's also an aging meta. Don't convince family and friends to invest in crypto if they don't believe in it. That will be a big mistake for you. Don't ever recommend investments to people who it's not for them. They weren't meant to invest in it. And if you teach them, it's going to be your fault if they lose money. And even if they make money, it's going to be your fault if you're like, all right, now sell, and then it goes higher. It never works out well. Doesn't work out very well. Like I teach people in SLB crypto because they're paid to be there. They were meant to be in the group. They found it. And I tend to teach people in this group because there's 26 of us on it. So, I mean, you guys found it, even though it's not very heavily promoted. So if I talk about crypto, then it's fine for you. But also I don't tell you guys to invest. Like, I mean, I don't really care. It's your money. I don't tell you guys to invest in rugs and a bunch of bullshit. My latest fucking meme token of bullshit. I've never told anyone to invest in anything that I've ever had or run. It's for them to be determined. But yeah, in general, any investment or money advice you give to people, if they follow it and lose money or they follow it and they don't have any risk, like you say, all right, I like this project. Why don't you put 2% of your capital into it? And they're like, all right, I have 10K. I might put $200 in. And they're like, then they turn around and they're like, I put all 10K in because you told me it was like really, really going to go well. And then it doesn't, but they didn't take any sort of risk mitigate. They didn't put the 2% in. And now they've been cucked. And that's your fault. Most people don't understand investing. Most people in crypto, you could look and be like, how do they lose money? But most people in crypto will lose money. Because by definition, that's why the gains can be lucrative, is that it's very emotionally, it's difficult. Your only edge in crypto, and I say this until I'm blue in the face, is time. Your only edge is I can take more pain than the guy next to me. Therefore, I'm going to be able to hold longer than him. I have a long-term vision. But this, like, I'm buying, I'm selling, I'm buying, I'm in a trade. I mean, most of that shit is a fast track to broke town. It's true. I had a lot of friends, specifically when I was still in crypto was cheap. And we, some of us, I mean, I played online too a little bit. We would play on the online casinos, and some of them would play like Bit Dice and things when Bitcoin was like $500 or something like that. And obviously they would lose like often like a Bitcoin at a time and shit. And now what is it? We're upset that it's 80K. I can guarantee you they're more upset. Should income be our main focus if I have a port less than 100K? Yes, it's true. How much do you need for crypto to start off? It's not so much that you need to specifically start off. It depends on how far that you want to go with it. If you want to manage it yourself, then I guess you can jump in the market with like $100 or $1,000 or something like that. But crypto is not a period where now that you're going to buy and it's going to go, your 1K is going to be 10K tomorrow. But the hardest thing with crypto is also you guys can't structure a portfolio. Like most people don't know how to build one. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I'm not the best at getting, the 100Xs or all of that crap, but I'm the best at anchoring a portfolio that's still, even in a bear market, you're going to be okay. It's not going to send you broke. But also when the market returns, then you get outsized gains too. Yes, income can be controlled. That's it. The crypto market also is a problem where I'm heavily invested in, let's say this theory, I'm heavily invested in crypto and then suddenly it's down for 1 year and I walk down the stairs and fall over and break my leg. And now I'm like, oh, I got to pay like 20 or 30 grand of shit and I can't work and all this. I have to sell my crypto in the bear market versus I had a cash pile aside or I was working or I wasn't as heavily invested. And now if an emergency happens, I'm not as bad off. Being all in crypto, I'll say it as someone who loves crypto, it doesn't make sense. Like it's very risky. You're taking a bigger risk. Although when you're young, your time will generally bail you out. I don't have 30% cash on the side right now. I probably have about 10%. But I have such a big portfolio that it doesn't really hurt me. My portfolio in crypto is probably like 4 or 5 million. So it doesn't really upset, or actually probably more than that, but maybe 5 now because of the drop. But it doesn't upset me as much as the idea of even having to sell 1 million. It doesn't really upset me that much. But I have multiple streams of income, all of that shit. I mean, but also it took me 12 years to get here, so 10 years to get it. A lot of people underestimate or overestimate how much they can do in 6 months, and then they underestimate what they can do in 5 or 6 years. But 30% cash on the side is not. That's a bigger cash pile. But again, it depends how old you are. If you're older, I think that it makes a lot more sense to have a bigger cash pile on the side. If you're 60 or something like that, because you just don't know. Like some guys might be like, I'm 70 and I'm 50% in crypto, and then they're in a bear market for like 2 years, and then they're like, fuck, I really need this cash. I might have to sell at a 70% loss or something. That would be devastating. So ideally, the younger you are, time bails you out, and the older you get, so you're younger, time bails you out, you can take more risk, and then the older you get, 40s 1, 50s 2, 60s 3, you need to take slightly less risk. And it depends how much you have also with family. Maybe some people are also sick. You have other shit they have to do, then they have to take less risk. Yeah, but I mean, 20 and 95% in crypto is fine if you have like no dependence. Because it's different when you have like, I don't know, someone's like, I got a kid or this, or my mom's sick or some other shit because they have crap that they have to take care of. Opinion on chain dividend yield bearing during bear market risk off. I don't like that. You chasing yield is like picking up pennies in front of a freight train. It's risky as fuck. Like no one probably says that, but it's very risky. Specifically if you're like, but I can understand it if you're like, I got 100K in stables and I want to move like, 20% over and I'm ready to take the risk. But again, it doesn't really make any sense. You're risking a lot to get like 5%. That's the irony, is that you think like people generally think that they're taking less risk to sit in a stable coin, like a protocol or something like that, versus to just hold Ethereum. Because on the price, it looks like they're losing a bunch of money. Like they're like, oh, I went, Ethereum was 3K and now it's 2,500. I've lost like 20%. If I was staking, I would have made all this money. It's not that. It's that they're staking on a platform where you're using Tether or something like that. You're taking the counterparty risk is not so much bigger than you could imagine. So yes, you're taking a risk on the token price, but do you really not believe that Ethereum will go past 3K again? Maybe it goes to 2K before then, but no staking, stablecoin on chain, different dividend yields. I mean, but still, it's kind of the same, right? Like they're only going to give you a yield if you're putting it somewhere that they can essentially make a bigger return on your money. To put it on Binance or something, maybe Binance have some crap up where they're giving you like 3% or something like that. But again, that makes no sense. They're not banks. Like a lot of these, like, chain and fucking, these like protocols or crap like that. A lot of them are crap. And it only takes one time for you to get fucked. And specifically, if that's a big amount of your crypto, you're finished. Like your run is done. Time will bail you out on anything except for if you lose your money. But still, like 10% is nothing. Like specifically, unless it's a fuck ton of money. And if it's too much money, it makes no sense. I learned that, I've done that from Anchor. What did we have? Terra Luna, where people are like, I'm getting 20%. So 10% tells me there's a lot of risk as well. Like if they're giving you 10% and the bank's giving you 4 or 5, then you're taking an outsized risk. Otherwise, there's a lot of massive money that would take 10%. I think that, what is it, fucking Strategy or whatever they're offering, like 8% or some crap on their offerings. I don't even like REITs, bro. Like I don't like them. I don't like all of that crap. I think that it depends how much money you have. If you have less than 100K, but I have a different idea that because I've been in the market for 10 years, I would just be like, oh, I have 100K in crypto. I want to put, even if I want to put like 40K in some fucking REIT or something like that, I would just move it into Ethereum. And I know that it sounds dumb and it doesn't make sense because it can go to 2K, or maybe it fully resets to 1500. But you really think within 1 or 2 years that Ethereum won't be 6 to 8K? So your 10% is not going to mean shit. Like you made 10%, you took a bigger risk, even if you're in a REIT or something. REITs can still get broke. And but Ethereum was a no-brainer. Like you were in charge of your coins and your crypto. You could, if you were upset that you might get hacked, you just get 2 wallets and move one and the other. Like, do you really think that Ethereum won't be, 6 to 8K before the end of next year? That's like, I know that it seems retarded because the price is down and everyone's calling for a bear market, but that's like as close to guaranteed as you'll get a guarantee. Like, do you really think Tom Lee and, essentially Bitmine, who 10% of it's a Peter Thiel product, he owns 10% of Bitmine, Peter Thiel. Do you really think that they're buying Ethereum at, I think they're in at like 3,200 or 3,300? There's not 5% of the supply, but close. Do you think like that they're the dumb money? I know some people think that they are, but they're not. Like people think that they're not, but and then we look back and don't realize that they're early because they're pushing. Ethereum will become a tech company, like an actual tech company. It will actually, Bitcoin will never bridge the gap between, because it's a decentralized platform. Like it's a decentralized nature as it properly is. Like there's no Bitcoin Foundation, like it's actually approved of. It's similar to, I guess, like the Bible, something happened and the person's gone. That's very important for a chain like that. That's actually good for the actual investment. Because the Satoshi isn't here, so he can't fuck up. Like he can't fuck it up. You're not going to find out that he's a maniac or some other crap. Whereas Vitalik, a lot rests on his shoulders. Like if it comes out that he was doing a bunch of bullshit, then he can damage the brand. But it is that he's actually an autist. And I don't say that in a bad way. I don't think he's a bad person or anything like that. But he's great for the company. See, Vitalik is a shit. Like he's shit for marketing. Like he doesn't pump the price, but actually that's what's great about it because it actually gives it longevity. Those pumpers and they stand there and they're like, we're doing this or we're doing that. That doesn't have longevity. Pumping hot air into shit doesn't have longevity. The only reason it works for guys like Musk and things like that is they do generate revenue, but they also own the social media platforms. Like he owns X. He's a chosen person. He's been in PayPal mafia forever. He's chosen his whole life by VCs. Vitalik wasn't. He started from nothing. Although they are to determine that they say that Peter Thiel was a very early investor in Ethereum, which is quite interesting. Seeing it was Palantir and Ethereum, they run very different. But Ethereum itself will become part of the control structure in a big way. That's why essentially Palantir or Peter Thiel, that's why they're heavily investing in Ethereum. Will become a big piece of the control structure. Ethereum can and I don't want to seem like a moon boy, but Ethereum can have a period where it decouples and it doesn't flip Bitcoin. I don't believe it flips Bitcoin, but it can get very close this cycle. The cycle to come. And whether it's to be this cycle that runs to like, 2027 or 2028, or it runs to 2030, you'll have to see. But it can, because it generates a guaranteed dividend by staking. Staking takes off the supply. It takes 30 days to unstake. And, it's going to become a tech company into the future. Doesn't have the same attack vectors, or it does, but also it has more ways that they can centralize it in a way that sells it to TradFi better. The cycle is not over. I've already said whether it goes to 55 or 69K will have to be determined for Bitcoin, but the cycle isn't over. The cycle is really yet to begin. And I know it seems crazy, but quantitative tightening ending in December, so next week, that's a big thing. Historically, after quantitative tightening ended, we had a crash on crypto and fell about 20 or 30% last time. And then Bitcoin went from, what was it, about 3,900 to 69K. Ethereum went 47x after, it was about 45x after quantitative tightening ended and QE ran. And people look in and they're like, but Ethereum's already like, but all these digital asset treasuries front run QE, they fucked up in some way. But they'll look like geniuses when QE is essentially running, but not yet. Bitcoin's a liquidity asset, and we're in a liquidity crunch now. And we're in a crunch also where people don't really know what's going to happen. These crunches also are like Trump being like, oh, we're not releasing the job data, we're not releasing inflation data. All that stuff is very bearish. We had a lot of this crap where essentially before COVID last time, whenever Trump was in, he creates a lot of drama. This like running around screaming and shit like that is not really bullish for markets. He set the stage, but we really rallied under Biden. Like he set the stage in that he was the one that, was caught talking about QE. But a lot of the shit that he says on the front end, they're not actually doing on the back end. Like people think that he's really fighting with power for some reason. They're both the same. It's the same entity. They both have the same boss. It's theater. So basically, as less than a six-figure port. It's hard to say exactly though, because it depends how important that money is to you. Like if 100K is a lot of money and that you're on 20K a year, well then you have to treat it different. See, that's why investing is complicated. Like I know it's not just it seems simple, but it's not. Because again, I'm working a job that makes me 40K a year. I have somehow accumulated a 300K portfolio. Well, then you have to take it more careful. Because if you're to fuck up, maybe it takes you like 8 years to build that portfolio again or more. That's what happens to crypto tards. Like some of them make $1 million. And before that, they were a fucking Slurpee boy. And then they're like, this isn't real money for some reason. And then they lose it. And then they're back on 40K a year or less. Now it's going to take them 25 years to make that money back. They didn't realize how they'd skipped the line. If you have $1 million or like, you have 500K or even 100K, you can upskill in positions that can make you good money, like real money. You can learn new fields if you have good money. Like, you have I have, 10 or 20K aside and I want to learn a new field. I'm already okay at sales, but I want to learn from a master. That's not me. I'm not in that sort of position, but there are people that can teach people to make more money. Not fuckwits that, essentially they're charging you 10K for a course or some other bullshit. But, you can get coaching. I'm a good salesman, but I get coaching from someone who's better than me and they teach me, and my wage is increasing. Instead of 5% a year, it's raising to 20 or 30% a year because I make more sales. That idea of shit is good. Like those ideas are truthful. Things that you should push into. If I can use money to learn how to make more money, then it's great. But you have to be realistic about it. Are you actually using your money to learn how to make more money? Or are you paying a fuckwit who only made money off your money? Then that's risky. Because most information products online, and I'm not saying all of them because some of them are good, but most are crap. Is global liquidity priced in and so mainstream that the only real strategy is to buy and hold? Also, Bitcoin becoming efficient, like S&P, also strategies will outperform. I believe that the market is becoming more efficient, but it's still, I don't believe that liquidity can really be priced in. It doesn't work like that. Like how's something priced in if you can't inject the capital in yet? You guys need to understand that 2030, your houses will almost be double again. and your rents will almost be double again. That's inevitable. Like that's coming. Own nothing and be happy isn't that you just don't own anything. It's that you rent everything. Because renting requires you have to abide by rules. If I rent you something, you have to do what I say. Otherwise, you're not renting fucking shit. You don't have any control here. If I'm your boss, and my boss, if I'm your boss, then your only complaint is to run to the government and cry and a bunch of bullshit. Whereas if I'm, essentially as well, I'm your landlord, and later on over time they'll adjust what leases are. And then, with UBI, leases can become part of digital ID. So if you're a troublemaker, you won't be able to lease shit. Then all of that stuff is this part of it. Those are all features. I know it seems like that those things are an accident, but they're all a feature. To own nothing and be happy isn't just about taking your assets; it's about you having to rent everything. So then renting, you don't have any power. Like if you're renting, you don't have any control. Your boss or your landlord can tell you to get fucked tomorrow if they want. Like if your boss is tired of you and your landlord's tired of you, they can just kick you out. You can go live on the street if you want and cry about it online to a court or some shit. Probably don't have money to fight it in court. Hey, Stephen, I invested 30% of my network back in mostly in alts. The market seems we're heading in a mini bear market. Would it make sense to pull out now and take this? Well, that's a pretty big loss. Like 70% loss from 2024. I mean, that's a considerable loss in 11 months. I don't know what you're invested in. Like, I don't know how that happened. My portfolio from last year, I think, is still up like 10%, although it's still not great, but it's still not down 70%. Bitcoin pre-2023 behavior, but also it depends what it is that you're in though, because I can't tell you that I would look to rebalance. If I was down almost 70%, I would likely rebalance in positions that will get me out to at least zero, like I won't lose money, versus to just cut my losses and run for the hills. You got to take advantage of such a thing. How much money do you start off in crypto? It's hard to say. Again, it depends kind of. There's no prerequisite. Like again, how much money is money to you? If you have 10K, well then you don't need to invest all 10K in the market. You can start to practice with like $1,000. But you need to learn like risk mitigation. You need to learn anchoring portfolios with long-term prospects instead of like I'm all in memes, because it's pointless. Like you're all in higher beta plays. If one collapses, the rest will. You want to be, I have a backbone of Ethereum, it's 50% of my portfolio because I believe that it will double. So if everything else falls off, then I just have to hold this Ethereum for 2 years and I'll be bailed out. See, that idea is like people are like, that's so foreign, but that's a simple portfolio and that's something that you need to look to as well. Hello, Mr. Bell. Is there any difference between hot wallets? Which one do you think trust more? I don't know enough about them, to be fair. I know what they are, but the MetaMask has been okay to me. Some people like Phantom, things like that. But anything in a hot wallet, you only have what you're willing to lose, unfortunately. A hot wallet over time, eventually, as the hacks get better and like, these 0-day exploits and shit, people will be getting their crypto sent out of their computer. You think e-commerce is a good business? I don't know enough about it. To be fair, I've never done anything in e-commerce. So you expect alt season is coming months? Not necessarily in the coming months, to be fair. I expect quantitative tightening to end next week. And then essentially that's to dry up but the liquidity will be very dry then also because people won't know what the fuck's happening. So I know that from November to January even, it's going to be rocky times in crypto. Maybe even November to Feb. Oh, no, probably November to January because people also speculate that MicroStrategy might be delisted because they have their meeting mid-January because they're operating as too much of they're more like a fund, it would determine. Their assets are predominantly Bitcoin, although they do make good revenue. People forget that Michael Saylor makes, like with MicroStrategy, they make hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue every year. They're not just a Bitcoin ETF. Like that, they make a lot of revenue. They make a lot of money. And I know it seems like, but also if they only have to service their debt, and I think the first payments are like a year or two, a lot of them are a year or two away, then some others can also bail them out on their repayments. We can loan considerable amounts of money. You think the Fed will cut rates in December? Yes, most likely. I think that's the truth. But you guys need to get to a term to understand that in the next 2 years, Fed rates will be 1% or 0. Like you guys need to get to terms that it won't be the COVID level of QE because Bitcoin should have never fallen from 6K to 3K. It should have always stayed about 6K. It only collapsed because BitMEX failed and then fucked the whole the exchange collapsed, and then their liquidation engine fucked up, and it made a lot of people lose money because the price crashed on that. But then so it should have only gone like what 11x the price. But looking back at the position of the mirror of now is that Binance itself has done the bullshit that they've done. It's not that different. But to be determined where essentially the market will be good. But Q3, Q4, 2026, the market will be very, very strong. It's true. Like again, historically, Ethereum has bottomed against the BTC pair going into QE, like when QE kicks off. Ethereum here, people don't realize Ethereum can go to like 0.1 again. If I want to tell people prices, I think Bitcoin itself is probably, I said July 11, Bitcoin's 142K, Ethereum's 69.20, and Sui's $5.90. So I mean, people look in and they're like, "Oh, can't make like 150% move in 8 or 9 months on Ethereum." Those prices will get hit. The end of 2026, I think Ethereum's 10K or more. And I know people look in and they're like, "But we're in a bear market. Like some fucking retard drew a chart. The short-term holders are destroyed." Of course, the short-term holders are destroyed. They always are. Short-term holders are locking in bigger losses than during the FTX crash. That's bullish, unfortunately. Because they're the weak hands. Like, again, if a 20 or 30% drop is to make them sell, they would sell on a 20 or 30% pump as well. They're the weak hands. By definition, they have to lose. Understand the tourists only come at the end. The tourists can't come too early. They have to get shaken out. And if they don't get shaken out, then there is no higher. Higher will come because the institutions, and I mean the big ones, have bought that capitulation on Binance. The altcoins, they wanted their altcoin positions filled, and they will get them filled. And if they don't get them filled one way, they'll get them filled another, which is to essentially crash the exchange as they did on Binance. I got into the Pico too, a lot of old tech like Phantom, and it seems okay. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean, but also I believe like ADA will hit $1. This run, I don't think that it'll hit any all-time highs. Optimism and shit is kind of specifically old. But all of those projects likely need an exit pump though. Like if you have, you need to see if the devs still have bags and shit to sell. If they do, well, they'll get an exit pump at some point, whether it's just for a week or not. Prices will go higher because they have to exit. It's the truth of it. But again, always investing in the newer tokens generally can do better. It's true. All right, lads. So, generally just stay strong. Santa Claus rally, I mean, on a bounce. The 90 and 90K and 100K will be tested. Whether it's to be tested now or will we hit 69K first or 75K or something. But Sailor's buy price, what is it, like 77K or something? That's a strong support. And other than that, lads, I'll see you guys soon. And don't pussy out. Yeah, and I am in Dubai. I'll be here for our blockchain week. If anyone sees me there, say hello. And yeah, I'll be there because of Soul Stake. All right, lads, talk to you soon.